Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be interviewing a very inspirational woman, one of my favorite clients. She was in the Radiance program this last year, and she had a sudden cancer diagnosis. There she is when she was partway done with the program. So let's see. Jen, are you there? There we go. There she is. Great. Right. So she should be coming on here in a moment. Jen Barber is a success coach. She's trained in a bunch of really amazing modalities. Hi.
Hi,
Hi, Jen. How are you this morning?
I am wonderful. It's actually noon here. I'm
Right.
in Pennsylvania.
Yes,
But
morning
I,
on my end.
yes, I'm here and so excited to spend some time with you.
Yeah, thank you for coming on and just share with people your experience. We actually started working together around this time last year. I think we had our first couple sessions in February, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it was very fortuitous. I met you in a business group. You started talking about what you were doing, and I was immediately intrigued because I'm curious about everything. I like to know what people are doing and have these experiences. And I was struggling with my right shoulder at the time. I had torn the rotator cuff during a kayaking incident. I saved people on the river. It wasn't that dramatic, but it tore my rotator cuff. And it had been almost a year, and I still didn't have that mobility. And so you talking about chronic pain and such, I was like, ooh, let me check into this. And I think we had like 3 sessions, one-on-one sessions together. And after the first session, Amy, I was sold. I was like, whatever she is putting out there, I want to do because this works. Having gone a year of struggling and not being able to move my arm and do the things I love to do, and an hour with you. And I was like, it was, I, I joke that it's like magic, but it was your understanding of what was happening in my body that I just did not understand the mechanics of it well enough. And you led me through all of that and had such great relief, which then led to your amazing program that you put together.
Yeah, I was so thrilled to have you join because, I felt that your body connected to this right away. And you also are so highly trained in so many other things that when someone comes into this somatic work, having already done other kinds of healing work, I'm always so excited because it just means that I'm going to see like another layer of their ability to serve or to experience like the grand qualities of life in this world. I'm just going to see that like surge in someone who's already done such amazing mindset, emotional work that you've done, belief repatterning, all the things that you practice. I was just so excited to see how you took this piece with your body in and then integrated that into the things you already know.
And that was really fascinating for me because the I say that what I do, the term I use is success guide, whatever you want to say, but I'm looking to demystify that connection between the conscious and subconscious mind. And so what's going on inside affecting what is happening in our outer world, where you are doing very similar work, but the inner body work and then how that manifests out in the objective world. I saw those parallels between what we were doing, and it was just the perfect playground for me. And I immediately signed up for your program, it was a no-brainer. As soon as you put the information out, there was no question that I wanted to be a part of it and to dive deeper, because I think every experience and way that we can learn and expand how we and why we are doing what we're doing is important in our growth. And that is, you know, what my zone of genius is in helping my clients. But it's my zone of genius because it's what I love to do for myself. And spending that 6 months in a container with you and learning more about my body and why it's doing what it's doing and how it's doing what it's doing and how I can control that was so powerful. Because after I had hurt my shoulder, that was like the biggest, longest, debilitating thing that I've had. I've had some other stuff, but I've been able to power through it. This, I hadn't been able to, and it was frustrating to me. And I knew there had to be a key to unlock that. You know, my belief is there had to be something, and you showed up and showed me that I could. Halfway through the program, then it was interesting as we were going through your program, some weird things in my body were showing up.
Yeah, I remember you were like having these really blissful, like, oh my God, I feel so balanced. I feel so vibrant. I feel so free. I feel the best I've ever felt in my life. And then there would suddenly be these like really intense, crazy contractions going on in your body. Like I remember one time you called me kind of like an emergency phone call because you were in so much pain, and we turned it down. We like turned down that tension and we got rid of the pain over the course of like an hour or so. But it kind of kept returning and we were sort of confused, like, why is this happening, right?
Exactly. And I want to point out to anyone who's watching this, when she says I called her, I was on the floor and literally could not get up off the floor. I mean, and I was in excruciating pain. It was not a, oh, this just really hurts. I was home alone and I was really afraid because I couldn't get up. And yeah, we weren't quite sure what was going on. It was just it kept fluctuating. And in that time, I ended up, because of my dog, she ran out the door and I went to grab her, freak accident, but I broke my humerus bone right at the top here. And going to the hospital thinking that I'm getting a bone fixed, and was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, which was just shocking. And, you know, cancer doesn't run in my family. It's just, it came out of the blue. And I was in so much pain. I don't know if you know anyone who's ever broken the humerus, but they don't like put a cast on it or anything. They let gravity do the work. And so like I could feel the bones. It was terrible. But I understood. Also, stage 4 means that it had the cancer, it was breast cancer, had moved to another part of my body, and it moved to my bones. So the pain that I was experiencing, that I didn't understand why, was because of all these bone lesions that I had all through my system. The cancer was eating my bones away. And so muscularly, you know, how things are connected, it was causing a lot of pain that I had no idea why, because it didn't make any sense to me. But I got answers. And my trip to the hospital to fix my arm turned into a 2-week hospital stay while they figured out what was going on. And what I want to impress upon people, the power of what you teach. I had come face to face with life or death. I I did not have the time to get surgery on my arm to get it fixed before I had to start chemotherapy. There was not time. I would not have lived. And so I'm laying in the hospital with this trauma and this death in my face. And I couldn't do a whole lot, but you know what I could do? I could do my somatics. My arm was in so much pain, and I used what you taught me. I did every day, just laying there in the bed, and the doctors would come in and check my arm, and they were like, you can move that part of your arm? You shouldn't be able to do that. And I'm like, oh, no, I've been doing the Hannah somatics. And I would try to tell the doctors, and they didn't care. They were just like, they couldn't believe it. But they were so impressed with the mobility and how quickly I could use my arm. And the other thing that happens in a trauma is, you know, we clench and we take in that breath. And my diaphragm was so clenched, and I was having pain from that and discomfort. And you had taught me those beautiful breathing exercises to expand. And so 2 weeks, I just laid in a hospital bed and I did that. And every time the doctors came in, they would comment on, they couldn't believe how well I was doing. How I shouldn't have been as positive and happy and feeling good as I was. And it was very confusing to them. And I know a big part of it is from the gift that you taught me with Hannah Somatics, because I was able to calm my nervous system with those techniques and to bring myself into a place where I felt centered and I could move forward making clear decisions, not based in trauma and fear, but being in control. And
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's this really interesting thing because we try to have control in our lives in a lot of ways. And usually when we're trying to have control or we're trying to control something, it's because we don't feel a sense of control within ourselves. And what you had been practicing with me over those first 3 months very intensely was bringing back the literal control over what muscular contractions were running the show in your body. And you had been building neural pathways to all areas of your body to bring back your conscious voluntary control over your body, present moment time. And what you just said is powerful because you were able to continue doing the work that you'd already been doing those first 3 months, laying in a hospital bed, and it was able to bring this sense of control to a situation that felt probably completely out of your control.
Yes. It was the really only control that I had, because this came completely out of the blue. It was, and the doctors would come in and tell me, looking at my history and my blood work and everything, and they're like, "You're so healthy, except for this." Great, thanks. But I was able to. You're right. I needed to hold on to something. I needed to feel like I could do something. And this was something that I could do. But more importantly, I already experienced the power of it. And I knew the effect that it was having on my system. And I knew that anything that I could do to help my body feel better was going to change the way the cancer was able to affect me.
Yes.
And that's what this is showing too. You know, as I continue. I have my practice, and my arm, that I broke, the right arm, I have so much mobility. It healed so much faster. I was able to use it so much more quickly than they ever thought possible because of me using these techniques to release those tensions and patterns that occurred from the traumas and allow my body to go back to its natural state where it wanted to be.
Yes. Oh, this is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing this, Jen. I get emotional just hearing you talk about this, because this has to have been one of the most difficult things you've ever gone through in your life,
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that I got to give you this invaluable tool that you got to be able to apply to this experience. But not only that, like, you're carrying it on and you're continuing to use this technology, this new awareness in your body.
I say you are one of my favorite humans, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You gave me a gift of teaching me to use the techniques, but you also gave me the gift of getting to share in your genius. How working with you is such a beautiful experience because your knowledge is so deep, and I always came away from our sessions together feeling a little smarter. Not just feeling better physically, but just feeling a little smarter. Like I was able to put some new ideas together, and I'm really grateful for that. And the way that you share is, it's very easy to take the knowledge and use it. We can take on a bunch of stuff and have facts and stuff, but to have someone who actually inspires us to use the knowledge and to better our lives with it, that's special. And you bring that gift to everything that you do. And I'm so thankful I met you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure working with you. And it was amazing to see how, you told me this about yourself, that you're someone where it's like, you just need to get a little bit of input. And then your whole system is like, okay, I know what to do. Let's just do this now. And I saw you doing that in regards to the food information and the food inspiration that I shared with you too. And that was cool to just see that once you kind of understood certain mechanisms and how things had been playing out in your body, you were so it seemed so easy for you to just make the right decision for you, what felt best, what felt most resonant for your body. And I love watching people do that. And it was such a pleasure because your specific way of doing this was lightning speed. It was it didn't take any, further discussion. You were like, oh, okay, this is how it works. Let me just let's just do it and help my body heal on all these different levels. And I'm sure you're still using a lot of that information, your cancer diagnosis and your cancer journey.
Yes, it's having that. When we were doing it within the program, it was more of this is, I'm enjoying learning. This is very interesting to me, but now it just put me in a place with having this diagnosis that I am able to understand and listen to my body so deeply. I think that, getting rid of the pain and having more mobility is a fabulous gift. But being able to more deeply connect with myself and to hear what my body wants and needs in any time is so valuable. And I use that every day. And that deepening came through the somatics. And I have grown up with energy work, and I've been doing this a lot of years, and your somatic work with me just threw open doors and made things so much easier and more accessible, you know, as for me to be able to help myself heal. And
Mm.
yeah, so the food element was a fun surprise. You know, I was more focused on the movement, but that has become so valuable too.
Awesome. Yes. I'm loving how this really meshed with the things that you already had learned. You know, a lot of times when I was like explaining something about how movement or muscles, you know, contractions work in your body and that we're making what was unconscious conscious. And that's what, you know, this little shaky feeling in your muscle is, or with information that you already had from another practice that you have,
Yeah,
where it's, oh, it's actually about bringing the unconscious things to the surface to refine and organize them and then give it back to our subconscious so we can just live our lives, right?
exactly. And that's what we do with information. Unfortunately, we take on information, take it on, and it just gets like thrown on top of the file cabinet instead of filed away. And doing this work and creating those neural pathways was like filing the information so the body didn't have to try to figure it out. It brought it back to its natural alignment where it wants to be. And when there is something that's a little askew, I am really aware of it now, and I can sit with it very quickly and shift and get things flowing again. Whereas before, it was a project. You know, it's like, okay, let's sit down, and it's like, no, let's just tune into this. What's happening? What are words Amy has told me? And I would tune into that, and I'd hear you in my mind, and I can move through it. And
Yeah.
my body, even though it has cancer in it right now, and I go through chemo every 21 days, so I'm getting that put into my system. My body is actually responding and doing better than it ever had. And I know that is such a strange statement to hear, but I feel very, I, I feel so aligned with my body and what it wants and needs now to thrive, and to vibrantly live than I ever did. And you were a big part of that journey for me.
Oh, thank you. Jen, this is so inspirational. Like, who can imagine thriving under a cancer diagnosis, but you're doing it. And that's just so incredible to witness. And, you know, you're right, like getting the tension and the pain and the mobility, you know, back in your body and removing those contractions that were causing pain, like that is what brought me into this practice too, was like the literal, oh, this is helping reduce tension and pain in my body. But then the next layer of what this really offers, of what building those neural pathways throughout your whole system provides, is this real sense of connectedness internally to your real-time experience of your body and of your life. And it's a secret superpower once you know like how to do this, once you've spent time cultivating those neural pathways. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited for you because as you continue this work, you know, you just started this kind of somatic initiation or so like a year ago, you know, and you've already utilized it in such incredible ways. This work is cumulative. So the more that you do it, there is no end to how much you can develop those neural pathways and those connections throughout your body and your system. So it's just to say there's even more to look forward to beyond the, you know, I tell my clients like the first part of our journey together is usually like chasing around the pain. We chase around the pain for a while. We get rid of the muscular contractions that are in the way of functional movement, that are in the way of you feeling free and easy in your body. And then there's the next layer where we start reintroducing functional movement patterns and getting the flow to come back, right? Now that the pain has decreased. And then there's the next level, which is kind of where you're at right now, where you've been at in terms of using this physical technology to actually apply to all areas of your life to make things more seamless, more efficient, and to bring your body into a healing state really quickly. Within a few minutes, I mean, you probably experienced that within a few minutes of doing these gentle little movements, you felt your system calm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
part of why you felt it so quickly is because you spent that 3 months intensively in my program doing that. So you had instant access to that, you know? Whereas when we first started working together, it might have taken an hour, 90 minutes to fully get to that place of calm, right?
Absolutely. And I noticed that as I was laying in the hospital and just decided, this is what I'm doing, I'm going to do this, and how quickly each day it just happened faster and faster. Or in any moment that would come up, the doctors would come in telling me something else, something I needed to process, because I was just processing so much information. My nervous system was just going haywire. And I just, I would just, they would leave, and then I would just start doing my somatics. And it just so quickly, it literally, as you said, minutes and down to seconds at times. It was just like, just starting the process, my body knew. It was like, oh, this is what we're doing. And my body knew what I expected from doing this work. I had the expectation that it was going to be calming my system and putting me in that place where I could be making good decisions and understanding what was happening. And the more I do it, the easier it is. I got my husband to you, and he even made the comment. He's like, "This works so fast for you," and I was like, "Well, yeah, I've been doing this longer, and I did that beginning work. He's at the beginning work of it, but he is experiencing his own relief, and it's fun to be able to share that with those that we love. When we see them hurting and we want to help and know that there's something there. He's finding his own path with this work, and it's inspiring to see
Yeah.
that that coming to you and learning this and putting it into practice not only changed my life, but it's also helping my loved ones too.
That's so beautiful. I've loved working with your husband. He's such a sweet and genuine person, and he's been really tight for a long time. And so starting to, release that tension is going to take some focus on his part. Obviously, I'd love to have him in the program because then you get that real concentrated time, but who knows if that's going to fit into his life at this moment. But like the concentrated time that you spend on this, it's going to change the entire way that your body ages and shifts as you get older. It's going to change the trajectory that you're otherwise on in terms of your mobility, but then also so much more, like we've mentioned, your ability to make choices in your body and in your life that feel authentic and resonant and meet your needs at that moment and aren't just based on a fear or a past moment that existed before, some kind of previous programming, right? So thank you for becoming your own somatic educator in your own way. I mean, that's what I want for all of my clients, for all of my students, is I want you to walk away from a session or this program with me having real, tangible, like skills that you can then use to apply in your life to address your own tension, your own pain, your own internal suffering, very efficiently, very quickly. And you are a living example of someone who's done that in a tremendous and inspiring way. Thank you so much for sharing with everybody today what you went through.
Oh, I'm happy to share you and your gift. And if it helps, someone else think, oh, I I'm not even that extreme of where I am. Imagine, how quickly they can heal and transform where they are. My case is a little extreme in some spots, but yeah, I'm so happy to be here and to just say how much I adore you, and I'm so blessed to have had you in my life.
Oh, thank you, Jen. I feel very, very much the same way about you. You're one of my favorite clients, and I so much appreciate you sharing with everybody your experience in the Radiance program last year. I'm launching another round of it starting March 18th, and I'm really excited about it because I've added another layer to it. So there will be a time for you to get access to this too, but just to entice you a little bit, what I've added to the program now, in the third month, we actually talk about the neurophysiology of movement, and we do somatic yoga. So I explain how this system that you've been practicing really works. And beyond that, I talk about how the mechanisms that are happening in our body all the time, how we can experience them as a lived experience and understand them so that we can be really confident as we go into our yoga practice, as we start some kind of physical activity again after being, maybe spending time in pain or discomfort. We can understand why those things were happening to begin with. So this is another layer that I've added to my program now, because the last round I had a physical therapist. She's still in the program actually. And she was like, I want to know the science behind this. And I was like, okay, I'll tell you if it's not going to be too much. And it turns out that the one woman who's in the program who doesn't have a movement background, meaning she's not a yoga teacher, she's not a physical therapist like the other people in the program, right? She has gotten so much out of that element. She's now excited about trying to practice yoga, which she was afraid of doing before because of how much she hurt herself previously, right? And she's also understanding why she's been having the experiences she's been having when she would try to weight lift or when she would try to do other kinds of activities. So I'm seeing the value of this for people who are, just everyday sorts of people and not necessarily movement experts.
Oh, that's exciting. I will look forward to diving into that as well, because I think the more information we can have about why things are the way they are, how they work, then we can work with that and we can understand what we're doing, where we're struggling, and make adjustments. Knowledge is so, I'm really excited about
Yeah.
this.
Well, I'm probably going to put it together as a continuing education course for people who have already done the program. So I'll definitely let you know when that comes up.
Looking forward to it.
Cool. Well, thank you again so much for coming on today and sharing your super inspiring, really powerful story of using your somatic knowledge real time with your cancer diagnosis and how that's been so powerful for you to be able to shift into that calm control within, rather than feeling this anxious sense of trying to control everything that's happening externally.
Yes. Thank you for having me, and happy to be here with you.
Yeah. For anybody who's interested in learning more about the Radiance program, you can go to the link in my bio and there's information there about the next round. If you have any questions about it, reach out to me. Just send me a DM. And you'll be hearing more from Jen in the future because I'm sure we'll figure out fun ways to collaborate and work together at some point, which I think would be cool.
Yes, sounds like fun. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.